Let's start recording. Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a custom 5v5 played on the Nerox's map generator. This map is on a 20k base but zoomed in quite a bit, so probably 12.5k or something like that. We have Team 1 up in the north, Team 2 down in the south, and a lot of water, so it's a naval heavy map. Let's introduce the northern team. Starting at the westernmost position in red, going Aeon and opening first land, we have Count Swagula. Then to the east of that, in hot pink, going UEF, opening first land, we have Mutsu. And to the east of that, in white, going Cypern, opening first land, it is Saneman. To the east of that, also a Cybran in lime green, and opening first air, we have Cybran Noob. Definitely a Cybran. Not sure if they are a noob though. We will have to see about that. Anyway, moving further east, the last player of the northern team, in yellow, opening first land, as Seraphim, we have Twitchy Mofo. Now, to the southern team. In, fecal brown, there is Ekotan, going Aeon, opening first land. Then to the west of that, in lavender purple, going Cypern, opening first land, we have QQQ. Then to the east of that, no, not to the east, to the west of that. One day I might actually get this right, consistently. It has been getting better over the last couple of casts. What am I saying? For the last while already. Like, past few months, but yes. Anyway, in the center, on the mirror slot to Saneman, to get back to this, we have no one else but Hyper in, their standard dark green, going Seraphim first today and opening first land. To the west of that, in normal green, opening first air as a UEF, we have Green Hat. And last but certainly not least, to the west of that, in the, light pink, there is Wekather, going Aeon, opening first land. That's all the parent introductions out of the way. We are at roughly 93% game balance, so everything looking good. Let's take a short look at the reclaim. Around 45k reclaim on the entire map, that is a lot. Especially centered around the middle right here, with a lot of big reclaim clumps, but also on the respective islands of the players, quite a bit spread around in form of these larger rocks. Like simply this is already 2k reclaim. That's ridiculous. So we can probably expect to see some extremely high ecos early on. Let's see, how's reclaim going? Team 1 fired on reclaim currently by around 2k, and also the only team currently collecting reclaim from the middle. This is possibly why they are this far ahead, since they did pick up quite a bit here, allowing them to get a nice head start. And it looks like there's currently no engineering units or anything of the sorts underway for the southern team, so the mid reclaim, at least the majority of that, seemingly going right in the hands of the northern team. Nice drop out from Cypern Noob, collecting some getting some engineers here to collect the rocks on the plateau. Immediately starting work on a factory, I would guess, for the factory attack move. Another engineer drop, this time out for Count Swagula. But yes, very naval heavy map. Ratings wise, we have, basically everything from 800 in form of Green Hat up to, I think highest is 1500, no, it's 1600 with Wekather. Sanemans and Fujimofo both tied for second place at 1500. Now the factory right here is done. No, that's actually building AA. First thing off right here is radar, not actually anything to reclaim, but just getting up intel. I mean, fair play. and is also very important, and we already have a T1 bomber coming out for Sandman. In the meantime, a T1 submarine already with 2 kills to its name has been built up by Greenhead, harassing the engineers that were supposed to build Navy, I would guess, from the other players. This one might get the engineer right here built up by Sandman, or doesn't and instead wastes shots on the naval factory. Hyper now also sending in a drop to get control of the mid island, but all the AA that has already been built up by Cyber Noob just shoot that down before it can do any damage, adding even more to the reclaim pile here. Another 400 reclaim. At this point, reclaim numbers have somewhat equalized, though all the mid reclaim is still only in control of the northern team. I guess the reclaim on the main islands was just faster for the southern team. And I'm gonna switch the scoreboards back over to just normal mass income now. As I think I already pointed out last cast, it was requested that I change it to only so that it consistently shows one thing throughout the game and doesn't cycle. And, well, I think that's a fair thing to ask, so I have listened and did change it to that. 1 T1 bomber killing off the radar of Swagulov out from Vagatha, but ends up getting shot down by local interceptors. However, Vagatha also already with a bunch of frigates out, starting to harass the engineers that are building the naval stuff for Count Swagula, taking quite a few of those out. However, there is a Sylph about to finish, which will make that a lot more annoying since, well, beacon-class frigates, or generally frigates, can't fire back at submarines. Sylph actually finishes, and we have some of those nasty T1 hover tanks of the Aeon, as the Aurora is actually a hover tank, moving onto the water to try and help out. Sylph submarine getting some damage in, but of course being a T1 submarine, not too much, and the torpedo defenses on the beacons also negating a significant part of that. And it looks like there was still no play made to actually get any of the reclaim in the middle now. So all of the mid reclaim did go into the hands of the northern team, which will probably also give them a significant reclaim advantage, though their total mass incomes are pretty similar. Team 1 actually slightly behind on that, so the eco must have went into more units instead of more eco. But that might still work out. Now, we have an attempt of land incursion out from Vagatha onto the area of Lord Swagula, getting some engineers in, which are just reclaiming the radar. But T1 PD already built up, and in response denying that. However, there is not much on the island, so maybe a quick land invasion could work. Quickly setting up a bunch of factories and stuff. But no such play currently being made. In the meantime, naval factory for Consvergula about to die. A bunch of submarines from Mutsu coming in to try and help, but, well, they might succeed. Well, I think that Vagatha might be forced to pull back for now. However, they still also have the support from 2 Tiger Sharks built up by Greenhead. And never mind, it looks like those submarines actually do end up going down before they can do anything. Now being chased down by Greenhead, who does not end up killing them off. Torpedo launchers now built up by Consvagula in order to counter these plays for future purposes. and to avoid a naval lock at the T1 stage. That did finish. Already taking a lot of fire from those frigates. However, in combination with the submarines, it will not be enough. However, the hover will probably suffice to, well, dissuade any more aggression in the general area for now. But there is still the issue that Wakatha has now achieved T2 Navy, and so has their teammate Greenhat, both of which can now build destroyers and cruisers. Especially the Aeon destroyers, the Exodus being extremely devastating. And the Governor cruisers of the UEF also very dangerous if properly escorted. When Navy is already decided, that is at least. A incursion out from a bunch of hover stuff by the looks of it, from Tuchimofo. Also starting a land assault with some Yenzines at T2. The Seraphim T2 hover tank. Killing off a few maxes with that and using a bunch of Suis to kill off a naval factory. Looking at the reclaim numbers on that was most likely a T2 HQ. So T2 was technically achieved by Ekotan for some time, but ended up being lost due to the hover artillery of the Aeon, not of the Aeon, of the Seraphim. Those Yenzines do continue to push through, killing off a few Pigeons and even more Maxes by the looks of it. Another attempt to help on that flank with the Navy coming out from Cybernoop, who is starting to use top bombers. Note that there is also T2 Navy rolling up for QQQ in form of a destroyer. T2 Navy also achieved by Tuchimofo, so there will be destroyers coming up there soon as well. Nothing going on in the center, it looks like that has just solidified for now. And if you look how it's at the situation in the western side, a lot of air being utilized there as well to deal with the naval aggression of Wakatha, who did attempt to make a land play, but already has some fervors in the area to deal with that. So that will not get very far. There is, however, a Exodus destroyer that did start bombarding that. In the end, that production may hold out for a bit longer, but we already have the blazers moving in to deal with that, and those will very quickly take out the factory and any unit that may build. Engineers move forward, trying to reclaim the mass extractors, get taken out by the aforementioned blazers. And there goes that play. T2 Navy now also achieved by Counts Regular. And T2 Navy trying to deal with the hover tanks. That is a case where Seraphim Tech would be very, very useful, since the Seraphim beam weapon on the destroyer allows a very effective solution to any kind of hover spam, while UEF and Aeon don't tend to do too well against that kind of stuff. Well, the UEF have their battlecruiser at T3, but that's still a bit off. And the Aeon don't have a real solution to that other than just the general frigate spam that is the usual solution to that. Now let's look at the air players in the middle. What are they up to? Well, T3 Air has been achieved by Hyper, already with a small air grid of 3 air factories. And let's look north. T3 Air also achieved by Sanuman with 2 air factories right now. Currently reclaiming the T2 power to, I guess, get some mass back for max upgrades. A, well, not unusual strategy for T3 Air players. And yes, it looks like that is going straight into T3 mass extractors, allowing more eco to be built. That's about to finish. There it goes. And next one up here is already started, and that is going along very fast. Let's see, does Saneman already have mass stored up? Yep, a little bit. They also have a naval factory, but it does not look like that is actually currently being utilized to build any significant amounts of navy. There's a single submarine, single T1 submarine that will not make any sort of difference. In the meantime, Salem's for QQQ starting to make land, not starting to make landfall, no, starting to bombard some of the area in the middle. With some of the spam there, however, that wouldn't be too important, but also just denying some areas. Drop attempted by Twitchy Mofo, but running right into a bank of PD and flag lit up by QQQ on that flank. Thus, Twitchy Mofo deciding to not try that again and abandoning the drop to use the units at a later stage. I have a surprisingly hard time talking today. Now, currently Navy on the west. It looks like a small push has been started by Wakatha with support from Greenhat. There are now cruisers coming in for Mutsu with the missiles. Very, very dangerous. There are a few cruisers out for Wakatha as well, which can deal with the missiles and any attempted air support. But the other thing that is worrisome in the area is the emergence of bulwarks from Mutsu, which will just increase the overall health of the units underneath with that sheet bubble. Now, okay, I was about to say it would be nice to see something similar coming out from Greenhead, and that's exactly what they are doing. After this destroyer, they are actually going to build some shield builds. The one thing that would also be nice to see from them is a more build power onto Navy, like more naval factories. It's hard to believe that they can spend their mass, and they cannot spend their mass, so not too surprising here. Overall, a strategy that is very usual is to build multiple factories of a type in order to just produce more units, to get more onto the field. That is what we are seeing with most players in this game. With Navy, typically a lot of factories at T1, a few at T2, and an even smaller amount at T3. Like one HQ at T3, for example, right now for Wakatha. Which, surprisingly, is not actually... Wait, why did I say T3? No, that's T2. That's clearly T2. I could swear that was T3. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe that's something I should worry about. But that's not an issue right now. Well, I guess it technically is an issue because I made that mistake, but let's not make it an issue. The hover spam of Count Regular also pushing in as well, causing some harm, and especially currently being problematic for Greenhead, who does not have anything that can easily deal with that. The ideal solution to that would just be frigates for them right now. The other issue also being the ballistic missiles coming out from cruisers. Well, that did come out from cruisers, but there are no longer any cruisers, as those are also going to just devastate that force right now, since it does not have any kind of tactical missile defense. Artillery banks building up on the shoreline now. Again, I would say that that is probably a questionable investment right now. Just building more navy would probably be the better solution. And that battery will be pointless as soon as more cruisers come up or battleships start being built, since battleships outrange T2RT. The only way to properly defend against battleships is to actually kill them. Or a lot of shields and shield assistance, but that is very hard to do. Tactical missile bank built up by Cons Regular. About to try a snipe, but I think that was going after the Naval HQ. However, there is a volcano that was able to just shoot down all three of them and avoid any significant damage. If we look back into the east, Navy is, well, Navy is tangling, Navy is fighting. There is some maneuvering being done. I'm not sure from which side the aggression is coming out here, but I would guess from the northern team, as this looks more like a defensive play to protect the naval factories right here. And stuff is pushing in now. The destroyers, or the first one of the destroyers right there, is about to go down. There it goes. The Salem's having a nice range advantage over the Seraphim destroyers here, being able to fire upon those before they can fire back at the Salem's. Another case where the Salem is really, really powerful, as in current balance I am pretty sure it is the highest range destroyer in the game. And with that, has the ability to cause devastating damage. A drop, never mind, I was about to say a drop coming out from Tuchimofo through the middle, trying to land off some Suis, but those just dropped in the middle before actually going anywhere, so not sure what to play with that is, since I don't think they will be of any help right here. Maybe those were dropped in anticipation of an air response, to not lose them, but well, still seems like a slightly questionable play. Okay. We see more naval aggression going on in the west, more going on... Never mind, the east has currently slowed down. But yes, on the west side it looks like another naval push attempted by the northern team, Counts Regular and Munster. Northern team also had almost 200 mass, so which also definitely does transfer into their current into the things we can currently see, as this looks like a clear case where the northern team is in control of the initiative, just pushing, just actually being the ones that start any sort of aggression and forcing the southern team to respond to whatever is going on. Forcing the southern team to act reactively instead of proactively, which can be a big advantage. First battleship, by the looks of it, coming out for QQQ, just like a Monkey Lord that I did not see being built. That looks like something is being built down here, and yes, Hyper building a chicken. A lot of land experimentals for a naval map. Where is that Monkey Lord supposed to go? By the looks of it, it's supposed to go around the sides and cause heavy damage to the base of Tuchimofo. And looking at the defenses, that might actually work out. It might be... could work. Airfight going on between Hyper and Xanaman. Looks like Xanaman manages to pull off some better turns. Keeps the ASF in a much more coherent cloud, allowing to pick off some of the more widely spread out ASF that Hyper had for a moment. And ends up getting a air win. With that, air control now firmly in hand of the northern team. who already have been using top bombers and such to great effect earlier on in order to negate a naval advantage they did have for some time. Top bombers now being utilized to deal with the navy on the side of QQQ. It looks like that is going after the battleship, taking that out before it can cause too much damage. And, well, there goes the second turn. There come in more ASF from, not more ASF, more top bombers from Mutsu. And that Galaxy-class battleship taking a lot of fire. That is about to go down. A bunch of assailants did move in, negating the range advantage of the battleship since that was not microed to stay at range. And it ends up going down to top bombers and, well, destroyer fire. Well, the western side just looks like a eternal fight that is not going to end at any time. Like just the kind of engagement where units are basically reinforced at the rate that they are lost, meaning that no conclusion can ever be reached. A T2 factory has been built up by Wagotha on the land, attempting another bit of land aggression. Just building up some obsidians. Let's see how well that works out. But that naval fight also leaving a massive reclaim field right here. Already engineers in the area for Wagotha to scoop that up. Nicely placed under protection of a bulwark. Never mind, bulwark goes out. However, engineers are dirt cheap, and compared to the amount of mass that they can get back from reclaiming the ship wreckage in the area, it is probably still worth it. We also do see asylums being utilized by both sides. While not as useful as bulwarks due to their rather limited range, since they are technically mobile shields for land, they can still be quite useful for just soaking up some damage. They also have a relatively small HP pool compared to a bulwark. The bulwark with, well, those are disabled. I can't actually see how much shield HP they have. Here, bulwark with 5.5k HP, a asylum with just 3.5k, so 2000 less HP, and a significantly smaller shield bubble, meaning that they cannot protect nearly as much. However, also a lot cheaper due to being just a T2 land unit, supposed to be mass-produced. And, well, due to their hover characteristics, of course, being utilizable on the naval play. The chicken for Hyper did finish and is now starting a large-scale assault onto the base of Consuagula. Well, I mean, it's an experimental. It's a massive walking robot. Anything that thing does is a large-scale move, because it's just large. Considering the fact that it's only one unit, you could argue that it isn't actually large scale, but let's just ignore that. Let's just not talk about that. I might have been a bit overzealous with my announcing of stuff. However, that is currently about to just walk through the base of Consuagula. It does not look like there's anything to really put a stop to that. A whole bunch of T2 BD banks now being built up to try and deal with that. A few Corsairs moving in. But with the current state of air control, there is not much that Hyper can do to protect it. Best they can actually do is try to cause more economic damage than the chicken costs, and causing more damage than it will deliver once it dies. And at currently around 15k mass killed, and now taking a lot of damage due to all of the Oblivion banks. I'm not sure how successful that will be. 22k damage, 27k mass killed, 28k, 30k. Right, that looks like it, I mean, more than paid for itself. Problem is, of course, if the amount of reclaim on the Rex added up with the reclaim of the chicken itself is still more than the cost of the chicken, then it was a mass donation. A mass donation that will cost some time, yes, but still mass donation. Battleships now also arriving at the front for Count's Regular in the meantime, and a big wave of top bombers moving into the position of Wakatha. Battlesfit going after the Naval HQ, which did build up its own battleship. Bunch of Corsairs coming in as well. That naval factory extremely low. One pass of those Corsairs and it's dead. Never mind, it looks like the top bombers are gonna get enough passes to actually kill it off, and there goes the Naval HQ for Wakatha, meaning that they can only continue building T1 Air and T1 Navy until that is finished. I really can't talk today. I really am misspeaking a lot. A nuke has been built up by QQQ, however, seemingly everyone currently in control of not nearly everyone. I missed the push of the chicken, causing heavy damage to Tochimofo, who had their base scattered. Cyber Noob is still mostly intact, but without a SMD. However, there is one SMD up here that is loaded for Xanaman. Currently, I can't see an SMD. Yeah, an SMD queued for Mutsu, so they would currently be a target for the nuke. Well, no, they wouldn't, because I'm pretty sure they are within range of that Guardian. And by looks of it, no SMD currently finished for Count's Regular. So only SMD that is actually on the field right now is the one belonging to Xanaman. Even though they lost their Naval HQ, it looks like Wakatha currently getting some more control. Navy in the east, in the meantime, pushing the northern team back significantly. Reason for that seems to be that there are no battleships in play yet for the northern team on that flank. Meaning that those battleships now in larger number can almost unopposed just bombard the ships of the northern ships and production yards of the northern team without any kind of opposition. And well, that is a enormous advantage. T3 Naval HQ now queued up for Mutsu, going straight for the summits afterwards by the looks of it. The Summit, a very, very powerful battleship, however not in actual battleship brawling. Well, it does have the highest range, shared with the Tempest at 150. It has a extremely long reload, and while it does have a very high alpha strike, the reload makes it not really competitive with the other battleships. Large-scale attack of Corsairs in the meantime. Let's actually get back to the game for a bit. Over the onto Hyper's air grid, taking that out. Hyper also with a nuke launcher. However, they did lose the complete airfight over the airbase. So those Corsairs will get a second pass. And that nuke launcher almost dead, and there it goes. And the Corsairs now retargeting onto the AC of Hyper, who is not making any play to get away. Never mind, there it is, but it's a little too late. And with the amount of Corsairs and the different angles that they will be attacking from, it's going to be almost impossible to dodge. And there goes the ACU of Hyper, going down to a Corsair snipe. Out from Salman. In the meantime, Mass Top Bomber being utilized to deal with the naval incursion on the east. A big attack, or a big move now being made by Mutsu and Count Swagula to force Wakatha back, who has started working on a Tempest, the experimental battleship of the Aeon, while also starting to build up more factories on land. possibly to start another to start a proper land threat to Cons Regular. This is seemingly played with full share on, so the remnants of Hyperspace did get gifted over to Wakatha as the highest rated player. The HQ most critically still is alive, and with that the aircraft can actually be easily rebuilt. Well, easy is maybe not the right word, but it can be rebuilt. It is still going to be extremely costly, and we still can't forget that overall Sandman is set on air numbers and air factories. But the battleships of QQQ made it up into the small pass between Sandman Space and the Middle Island, threatening, by the looks of it, the SMD. The shield around the SMD just dropped. A small shield has been built up just a nick of time, but that also will not hold out for long. A second T2 shield has been built, but once again not holding out for long. And there goes the SMD. Is that nuke loaded? Yes, it is. So the nuke can be launched at any moment now. And there it goes. And I would guess after that SMD snipe onto Saruman, that is probably going after that base, and yes it is, right here. It will definitely take out the HQ and possibly the entire air grid, as well as significantly crippling the mass production of Saruman. So that is going to be a very, very valuable nuke. Possibly allowing Wakatha to build up enough air to somewhat contest it. Maybe not to win it, but at least leave the air game contested. And there goes most of the air grid. 3 factories survive, however, none of them are the HQs, so... Never mind, 4 factories actually survive, but again, no HQs, so for now, no more air can be built. And there are currently more air factories out for Wakatha right here in the back that once belonged to Hyper, meaning that they can now currently outproduce Saruman. Which they definitely need to do, as they are currently still behind on the air game. Let's take a short ASF count. Well, 22 ASF versus... drumroll... 102. I think contested is the right word right now. If anything. That might be enough to take out some bombers before they get a drop-off in a suicide run. In a suicide run for the ASF, that is. A fat boy built up by Greenhead is trying to help out. Ends up going down to just naval bombardment. Megalith right up here, built up by Twitchimofo. The Megalith, unlike the Fat Boy, actually a surprisingly good naval unit. Not only has the Megalith some pretty decent torpedoes, which are, well, shat out at an incredible rate, it is also extremely tanky, and if half submerged, still has its rather powerful main cannons that can quickly deal with most ships. But again, the main asset is just the insane health pool of the Megalith, as you can see right here, and also the rate at which it can just produce torpedoes. While the torpedoes on their own aren't too amazing, as you can see, they are slowly tickling that galaxy to death. It is the duration of which they can be provided that makes them extremely powerful. And looks like I missed a air snipe onto Wakatha. I think I saw some top bombers, some white top bombers coming in as well, so they probably did a top bomber snipe. Since that AC was underwater, that seems the only realistic solution there, so most likely was. More top bombers also in the area for Mutsu. And the Tempest did actually end up dying right here. Everything did get gifted over to QQQ, so Southern team down 2 players already, while the Northern team is still at full player count. And, well, there are now also battleships on the field for Greenhead. So the point I made earlier with battleships outranging the T2 RT is a bit of a moot point because, well, they have their own battleship to deal with other battleships now. However, that can just be overwhelmed. Another worrying thing in the area is actually the silencer, the Aeon nuke sub. That is, by looks of it, slowly building up a nuke. And on a map layout like this, that could be used to create success. We have the first turns now also coming out, due to Navy being basically won at this point. Another Fatboy trying to move over to the other side of the water, however. Fatboy not a great naval unit. Believe me, I've tried. That's actually unironical, like an actual statement. When I was much more experienced about the game, I did actually try that once. Did not go well. My teammates were not happy. But yes, that Fatboy trying to make it back to land. And the best use as a pseudo-naval unit for the Fatboy is if it is at land and just bombarding some of the Navy with its, well, medium-range cannons. I think long-range cannons would be battleship stuff, but that can outrange a Fatboy easily. And there goes the shield on the Fatboy. Fatboy does not have much health, but it is still trying to pump in some damage before it dies. Another nuke flies right here, and by the direction it's going, that is most likely going after the base of Cons Regular, who does have SMD, however it is not loaded. Like, it's maybe 20 to maybe 10%, let's say 10% off from actually loading right now. So at roughly 90%. Too bad, the nuke is about to land. Even if the SMD loaded now, it wouldn't be able to fire on time, and there it goes. And taking out the SMD and a lot of maxes. That's 6 maxes. Ooh, that's painful. That nuke now with almost 160,000 mass killed definitely paid for itself. Nice thing about nukes is that they also just overkill the stuff that they kill generally. Meaning that you have no wreckage at all left here to reclaim. So you don't have to take that into calculation of if it was actually worth it. The other thing about nukes, of course, being the enemy doesn't get the nuke, doesn't get any reclaim when the nuke lands, like from the nuke itself. You make an investment, and the enemy has no chance of getting any part of that investment back if they kill anything. Turrets now also being used in the west by Ekota, and a big wave of Strat Bombers trying to take out the Maglev. Maybe not the best play. ASF do now come in to just quickly take out the Strat Bombers. Maglev at 10k HP. And there is currently nothing with torpedoes by the looks of it in the area, so it can just kill off some more stuff, get some more value. Basically for free. Though at already 87k mass kit, it has 100 regen. That one is going to, that guy is going to be fit very fast, to be honest, if it doesn't die. Mass turrets now just taking out what remains of the bases of, well, Greenhead and what once was Rockefeller's base. A Fatboy also made landfall into that, causing even more damage. And devastation. And, well, with the Western Navy now basically being won, it looks like Mutsu is redirecting their naval production now to hold off the naval push from QQQ. Yeah, that Megalith regenerating surprisingly fast, considering its health pool. Like, if that ever fully regens, that's would be 150,000 HP. The only way to one-hit that would be with a Yulon Horse. But to be fair, that goes for the normal Megalith as well, for a non-battered Megalith as well. Cinnamon finishes an experimental. It is another Megalith. At, well, due to just being finished, of course, only 110,000 HP, and that has been gifted over to Twitchimofo. Right here, Twitchimofo is Seraphim, so they couldn't have built a Megalith on their own. Makes sense that that was just gifted over to them. Some Hover starts to make landfall, trying to claim the areas right here that once belonged to Twitchimofo, who did actually lose most of their base, so so seemingly they are currently just reduced to microing units for their teammates. Another nuke is fired, this time right up here, to the position of Cybernoob's commander, who is not trying to move away, even though they are not under SMD coverage. Meaning that they will most likely die. Yes, if they moved away now, then they wouldn't get away fast enough, so they start moving, but it is a little too late. The nuke impacts, and there goes the ACU of Cybernoob. The first ejection on the northern team. Well, the Cybernoob apparently questioning the sexuality of QQQ for that action. Not sure why that is of any importance here, but let's just leave it at that. Fatboy's actually moving on to the base that once belonged to Hyper now, after everything else has been annihilated. With a single Awasa built up by QQQ sent out to take that out. Awasa Bomb hitting the shield, but due to its AoE is still causing massive damage to the Fatboy. Meaning that in 2 passes, even without taking out the shield, the Fatboy actually dies. There it goes. However, air response now coming in for Sandman. Let's actually take another air count. We are looking at 75 for Sandman and QQQ currently at 183, so Sandman did actually fall behind on the air game. Wasa gets another bomb off, but not properly escorted by QQQ, meaning that that airfight does not get won, because there is no airfight actually happening. The Wasa just did get picked off. And the 2 Megaliths just slowly tickling a GC to death in the water. The second one seemingly batted another time, meaning that it's already, or the original one, meaning that it is back up to 46,000 HP. And we do now just have mass Salems on land used to defend. Well, never mind, they turned around, so they cannot actually fire, since the Salem only has a single cannon at the front, which is obstructed by the superstructure when trying to turn backwards, meaning that Salems can't fire directly backwards, but in a slight angle only. Another nuke is fired, this time from 1 nuke sub. Okay, there's still only 1. This is going right after the base of QQQ, who does have SMD. It is loaded once, but it is currently under massive threat from a lot of torrents and battleships. So if there was a bit more patience with that nuke, it probably could have killed off that base. A whole bunch of Wolfers now being sent in to try and deal with the Red Navy, but... well, okay, there's the response coming in. QQQ not noticing, and... right, it's Cypern Air, so it of course has stealth. A very annoying part about the Cypern ASF. That stuff makes it very hard to see them as long as they are not inside Omni range. Another nuke launch, this time out from our purple player. Constantly saying QQQ gets tiring, so I think I'm just gonna switch stuff up with also just naming them based on their color now occasionally. And that one is going after something. I think it's trying to scoot the gap right here and go after the ACUs. And since I was about to say, since I don't see any SMD that might work, but it just about scooted the range of the patron built up by Count Svergula, and thus did not end up passing. Green Hat hiding in the water in the back, having built up a nail factory, I guess, to just build some engineers right now, and suggesting to nuke the navy, which would probably be the best play right now. But the two megaliths have made landfall. The original one now almost dead, trying to make it back into the water to survive, I guess. But with the amount of battleship fire incoming, I don't think. Yep, it does not succeed, and dies beforehand. How sad. The SMD goes down in the airbase of the southern team. And, well, there are some homes built up, slowly murdering an Omen. Well, honestly, not so slowly, because homes are fucking insane. I mean, look at that HP pool just melting under the pressure. Now, in return, homes are extremely expensive, but they can make pushing very annoying. Wolfhill is being utilized to deal with the land incursion, just killing off most of that land spam. Mass T1AA now being built up to take those gunships out. And Wolfhill's only being T2 gunships means that they will just drop down eventually. T1AA is still kinda effective against T2 gunships. Even against Wolfus, which are, well, technically tier 2.5, since Seraphim does not get any tier 3 gunships. But yeah, they do just melt. I do hear chicken fighting somewhere. Right, another chicken has been built up by our lavender purple player. Now just harassing the navy that has moved up too close to the shoreline. Just firing into that, getting as much damage done as possible. Actually getting a decent amount of damage, to be fair. Like, those battleships are taking a lot of damage from those plasma bolts. As they should, because, well, it's a chicken. It's supposed to be threatening and dangerous and powerful. And it even got one rank of veterancy. Might get a second one. Almost certainly will get a second one. Well, maybe not certainly, because I'm pretty sure that Omen will just move out of range and that will be that. Yeah, it's not gonna be able to keep up with that. So there goes the second rank of veterancy. Mass top bombers do come in. This looks like a control K. Yep, out from QQQ. Giving up. Ekotan also about to die just due to the Fat Boys pushing in on their base. Greenhead has taken a lot of damage. Right here, those were top bombers out from Sunderman trying to do an air snipe. Ekotan dies. And Greenhead went for the gun upgrade, going out guns blazing, and fires into the units of Count Svergula before they die. And, well, not enough. Of course not enough, considering everything they were up against. Ends up dead as well. And with that, the northern team does win. I hope you enjoyed this one. This was streamed live on Twitch. Link to that will be, as per always, down below in the description. If you did enjoy it, maybe leave a like, or don't, I can't force you. And yeah, if you want to be notified when more casts like these do come out, you can always subscribe, it's YouTube. You will also be notified whenever I actually get to finally editing my Homeworld playthrough. I think the first recording of that has been sitting on my hard drive for almost a month now, and I've done almost no editing, just cutting out the tutorial because that was not really interesting. I should really stop procrastinating on that. God damn. Like, who would have guessed that the difficult part about making bonus content in form of actual gameplay isn't actually getting to playing that kind of stuff, but to actually editing that down. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you again in any kind of future content, be it stream, be it that extra content whenever the fuck I'm done with editing that, or be it another cast. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you again in any future content. Until then, bye.